Last night was a roller coaster of emotions for Bears fans. And of course, the Bears fell just short of being able to defeat the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers just played a more complete game throughout the entirety of the game. But the Bears did fight. They did crawl. They battled. And they still came up short against the Green Bay Packers. Jaquan Brisker and Ben Johnson have made their thoughts very well known. We're also going to look at the winners and losers, according to me, from that game as well. Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, the heartbeat of Bears Nation.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize. But more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. I want to start off with this one with a message from Ben Johnson in regards after the game. He said this: "We'll be a playoff team once we earn enough wins to become a playoff team. So right now, we're a 9-win team. I don't think 9-win teams is going to get you in this year. We got to do what we can to get enough wins to find a way to get into the tournament." That's what he told the Chicago media following the game against the Green Bay Packers. And it's been a message that I have said as well, right? Not to say that I've coined anything, because I have not at all, right? Is that the Bears ain't accomplished shit. And when I was saying that last week, there are some Bears fans that are like, "What do you mean we haven't accomplished something? We're at 9 wins." By accomplished, I mean that you haven't achieved anything yet. Yeah, you've gotten some wins, right? But there are teams with 9 wins that don't make the playoffs every single year, right? So you haven't accomplished anything. Yeah, it felt good for a week to be the number one team in the NFC. It felt good to be the number one team in the NFC North. It felt good for that. And like I said then, Bears fans did have a right to celebrate that. When you look at where we've been over the course of our history, they had the right to celebrate that. And I would never take that away from Bears fans. We had the right to look at that, to celebrate it, to talk about it, and to acknowledge what it took to get to where the Bears are and how much they had to change for the Bears to get to where they are right now. Things had to change, right? And it's great to acknowledge that. But the Bears truly haven't accomplished anything. And I, for one, am somebody who actually appreciates the fact that Ben Johnson has this type of mindset in regards to his team, that has this type of mindset of, we haven't done anything quite yet. So now we're second in the NFC North, right behind the Green Bay Packers. We're still one game above the Detroit Lions as well. But unfortunately, we have a 1-3 record in our division. The Green Bay Packers have a 4-0 record in our division. So while the Bears still can technically win the NFC North, they're not done for it yet. They have to almost win out of all these games, right, over the final 4. Now, I don't necessarily expect the Bears to do that, but I do think the Bears need to get at least 3 wins to have yourself a chance of doing that. And we'll see what the Bears can do in that one. But the win streak is over now. The 5-game win streak is over. You guys may remember that I did kind of predict that this was going to be a loss by the Chicago Bears. And in no way am I happy about that, right? But I did predict it because the letdown's going to happen. And I don't see it happening against the Browns. At least I hope it doesn't. And I want us to still finish the season strong. So this is where I did have it. Now, I do think the Bears can win. You look at, we have a game against the Lions, another game against the Packers. We got the Cleveland Browns, and we got the San Francisco 49ers. Those are the teams that are remaining on our schedule. The Browns, then the Packers, and then I think we end the season against Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. It's off the top of my head, right? But Ben Johnson has echoed and continued what he said before. The Bears have not accomplished anything, and that's not to be down on what the Bears did yesterday. I love the fact that the Bears competed in the second half of that game, and they played much better about it. But the fact that Ben Johnson did need to quiet some of the buzz. Let's not focus on the playoffs. Let's focus on what it takes to get there, which means you have to win football games. And those are the things that are in your control, right? So, yeah, we still have the potential absolutely to win the NFC North, right? We still have the potential absolutely to make the postseason. Those are too good. There are some really good outcomes that are here for the Chicago Bears, right? 2 really good outcomes that are opportunities. And when you look at this team to be able to make the playoffs in this first year under Ben Johnson, if you're able to do that, it's great, right? But things, we'll see, right? Cleveland is 3-10, but You look at them now, like they have nothing left to fight for. They've been eliminated from the postseason, but there's still a team that, listen, Shedeur Sanders is in there. He's thrown dots before, right? So you have to focus on who's in front of you. And you have to play every game like it is the last, and it's the most important. And that's up for Ben Johnson to get this team ready to do over these last 4 games of the season. So you still have to pay the Packers and the Lions once more each, right? And hopefully we can get into that and get 3 wins in the division. And if we're able to do that, great. But this is going to be a tough season and finish to the season for the Bears. And so Ben Johnson has his team, I think, locked in the right way. He has their mental locked in the right way. And we just got to see how it's going to come out of that, right? And, for what it's worth, Jaquan Brisker as well, after the game, he talked a little bit about it. He said this when he posted on Twitter. He says this: no matter the outcome, we're going to figure it out, and we're going to be straight. Trust me. So, listen, that's great. This team does have a level of confidence, a level of resolve that we have not seen from the Chicago Bears in years, right? For my Bears fans that have been years, the majority of their life like me, this team hasn't always been the most confident, and they haven't always had the reason to be the most confident. But I think that you if you take away what you did in the second half against the Packers, right? Now, not to say everything was perfect in that second half against the Packers, because it wasn't. Caleb needs to be better in certain instances. But if you take the way that as a team you perform better in that second half, that's where you can start to make some things happen, right? And it's unfortunate. I do Bleach Report, which most of you guys know. I do the post games for the Bears over there, and there were some people that were like, "Well, this loss is on the defense." And you have the people that are like, "This loss is on Caleb Williams. This loss is on the offense. This loss is on coaching. This loss is on everybody as a team, right?" Because the defense in the first quarter of the game got the Packers. Like it took what don't think the Packers scored into their 4th drive, right? And the Bears couldn't take advantage of the defense stopping them from getting in the end zone, right? That's something you have to take advantage of, is when your defense is keeping a team like the Green Bay Packers from getting into the end zone, you have to find a way to put points on the board. The Bears didn't do that, right? And so that's one thing that stood out there. Yeah, Caleb Williams had some misses, and he had some opportunities that got away from him absolutely throughout the game. There were some drops as well that happened in that game, right? And then the coaching. Ben Johnson played it safe in the first half of the game, and it seemed like, as we've done in a lot of games this season, we really woke up in the second half and got it together. Now we need to continue to do that and find ways to continue to be that, right? And be that more consistently over the game. The defense didn't call the best game. We know that Kyler Gordon went down. He hurt his groin in the pregame. That's unfortunate, but you need the next man up, right? So this team still has confidence, and this team, we have a chance at redemption against the Green Bay Packers in 2 weeks. And we'll see if the Bears can take advantage of that. If they can, great. We'll see. We'll be at home in Soldier Field. Can we defend the home turf at that point? Let's hope that we can. So, overall, the season is not done. There's the thing that I hate is people who are front runners either way, right? Like when the Bears are winning and you have Bears fans, oh my God, I think we're going to win out. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. Now the Bears, oh my God, the season's over. We may not win another game over the season. Stop it. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle there. Let this team go out and compete. This is not more a reason to have the skies falling type mindset. Let's go out here. Let's learn. Let's deal with some adversity, and then let's get back to the drawing board and be that team that we've shown ourselves to be. That's a tough son of a bitch of a team that's going to make some mistakes. It's not always going to be pretty, but this team can win some football games. So, overall, I'm not too down on it, not too high on it as well. Like I said, no moral victories, but you did play better in the second half of this game. And now let's go out, let's get it done, and let's see how we can build off of that going forward, right? Now, with that said, I do want to talk about, as I do after every game, the players that stood out, both good and bad. The first I want to talk about the winners, right? The Bears running backs. It was another solid game for DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai, especially in the second half of that game. I really wish Ben Johnson would have went to them more in the first half of the game, right? But when Ben Johnson finally started to give him the ball more, we saw the production. They combined for 27 carries, 120 yards, and averaged 4.5 yards per carry in the second half of that game. That's what you want to be at, right? So, yeah, of course, it's not the same level of performance that they had against the Philadelphia Eagles, but they did make it known for a Packers defense that has not allowed a lot of rushing yards. The Bears found a way to move the ball on the ground, and that's really good, especially when you face this team again in 2 weeks. So, they found that, and hopefully Ben Johnson now uses that to trust your running backs more often and earlier in the game, because once we did start trusting those running backs, this game really, the tone of the game completely changed. And you got to find a way to discover that consistently. And hopefully the Bears can do that more consistently the next time we face them and for the remainder of the season. And then the second winner that I want to give one to is Luther Burden III. You look at Luther Burden and what he did with Rome Odunze being out, and he stepped up big time. He's a second-round pick. It was a second-round pick for a reason. Some people thought he could have been a first-round pick. 4 receptions on 6 targets for 62 yards. Not like it's the most game-breaking day or anything like that, but he made consistently good plays as well. And like we talked about with the running backs, when he was trusted to do more and called on to do more, he found a way to consistently move forward. He found a way to consistently impact the game positively for the Chicago Bears. And for that, he gets tons of credit for that. I got to give credit for Luther Burden for that. But let's flip this and start looking at the losers, right? Losers is too strong of a word, but the players that didn't perform the best for us. First off, CJ Gardner-Johnson. And I've been glowing about CJ Gardner-Johnson. I think once Kyler Gordon stays healthy, you're going to have such a nice balance of how you're going to be able to use those players. And while he did have 10 tackles, right, you got to look specifically in coverage. Now, that's not the strongest part of his game. But when he was asked to guard fast receivers like Christian Watson and Jaden Reed, that's when he got really exposed. He could not keep up in that. Now, that's where a younger player like Kyler Gordon, and usually Jalen Johnson is going to help at too. Jalen Johnson didn't have the best game either coming back from injury. So, CJ Gardner-Johnson did a fine job, a perfectly fine job, but it's that secondary in coverage. He just looked cooked in that point in time. You got to go back and look at the all-22. If you guys want to really take a look at that, look when he was switched on in coverage on Christian Watson and Reed. It just left a lot to be desired for CJ Gardner-Johnson. But again, more of a positive impact than not his time here. In no way am I down on him overall. I just think that we've seen better from him. And you may have seen what one of the weaknesses of CJ is, and that is his inability to guard some of the faster wide receivers, or at least is going to have a little bit more trouble with that. Then Jonah Jackson. Jonah Jackson, if you go back and watch this tape, he got beat a lot of times with it, especially when Micah Parsons was lined up in front of him. He didn't allow a sack, so that's good, right? But he did allow 2 pressures and 2 hurries in that loss, and you need more time than that, right? And Jonah Jackson has been really good for this Bears team more times than not. But a lot of Bears offensive linemen as well, they didn't necessarily perform the best way that we have come to expect. And the Packers did what I wanted us to do against Jordan Love. They harassed Caleb Williams for the entirety of the game. And Jonah Jackson, I think, struggled the most on last night, though. And then, of course, Caleb Williams. Now, Caleb was a tale of 2 halves for Caleb Williams, right? But there were some particular situations in which Caleb just didn't. On 4th and 1, with 20 seconds left, we all know the play, right? Lob pass to Cole Kmet, and he got picked off, and the Bears lost the game, right? That was a game where the Bears could have pushed it to go into overtime, but unfortunately, the Packers got the interception. They sealed the game, and it is what it is. Now, Caleb Williams, after the game, said this. I tried to give him a big boy ball. Trying to let him go up for it because I ended up seeing Nixon trying to sprint, so I tried to slow Cole up and give him a chance. Not tough at all as far as the play. I just have to throw a better ball. Now, there are going to be some fans that are definitely frustrated by Caleb Williams' response there, right? He finished the game going 19 of 35, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he rushed for 15 yards on 4 carries as well. But the thing about it is that this was a game where we needed Caleb Williams to be more accurate. The Packers don't allow for a huge margin of error, and thus you needed Caleb Williams to be better than what he was, right? And we've seen Caleb Williams' completion percentage decline, right? Each week. He's now at 57.8% of the season, down from 62% at one point. He hasn't completed over 60% of his passes in a game since week 8 against the Baltimore Ravens. We need Caleb Williams to be better. Now, I know some people are going to use this as an opportunity to completely shit on Caleb Williams. That's not what I'm doing. But as a starting quarterback, we need him to be better in these type of moments, especially when we're taking on those Green Bay Packers. He needs to improve his accuracy. Now, there's a chance that Caleb Williams may never be the most accurate quarterback. That doesn't mean that he can't, improve and still help where the Bears need to. I know that patience is the thing that we do have to practice with Caleb. And some people don't have it, some people do. But Caleb Williams wasn't what we needed him to be throughout the entirety of that game. If we had more of second half Caleb in the first half, I think that we do win this game. But Caleb still made the mistakes, and he has to tighten that part of his game up. Again, you are judged now. I said this a week ago, right? Is that I'm now judging this team by the standard of playoffs, right? Whether we make the playoffs or not, I'm still judging this team by the standard of playoffs. In first half, Caleb Williams going 6 of 14 for 32 yards. That's not playoff caliber football. And we need that. Even if you're going to be a game, that's not even game management. A 50 quarterback rating, that's not even a playoff game manager. That's not that. Now, second half of Caleb, much better. 13 of 21, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, QB rating of 96. That's closer to that. We need that. That needs to be Caleb's minimum, right? That level of production, that level of completion percentage. And we'll see if Caleb can get there. If he can, it's going to definitely help the Chicago Bears. But Caleb definitely sold a little bit last night for us. And again, I want to still acknowledge the better second half. But also, before we get out of here, we got to talk about Ben Johnson as well. Ben Johnson got to be put on this list also, right along with his quarterback. It was tough. It was a rough play calling first half for Ben Johnson, and there's just no way around it, right? The time management at the end of the game was also a question. The time management at the end of the first half was a little bit of a question as well there. Ben Johnson didn't coach his best game. And Ben Johnson will probably be the first one to tell you that, but you need to tighten that up. We need better from Ben Johnson also. So those are the winners and losers from yesterday's game, the players that stood out, both highlights, lowlights. You know, after every game, we do like to get into the mailbag a little bit. We got 2 voicemails. This first one is from Achilles.
Yo, Chicago Bears Central, man. Name's Achilles. Obviously, my YouTube name, I'm going to stick with that. But anyways, going to get into this game right away. Great game, bro. At first, the first half, I'm like, I was even in y'all chat saying, yeah, it's one-sided. We lost. And then Magic started coming in with the adjustments in the second half, which applaud to the coaches for that, honestly, because the first half was just so bad that I'm happy that they turned it around the way they did to even be able to possibly win this game. Now, a lot of people are going crazy on Caleb once more about the whole DJ Moore. He was wide open. That was an easy throw. Shut your goofy asses up, bro. First read was fucking clearly, it was the same play against Philly, but Ben called that play when they were much closer to the end zone than what they had in Philly. In Philly, he had more room to work with to where Cole can get that separation, and it was a beautiful touch pass. But at the end of the day, you're calling the same shit. Should have gave Kyle Monangai, who was smacking those Packers defenders around, bro. Monangai is the starter. He is the David Montgomery 2.0, bro. He is. And then Swift, he's bad, but he's not bad. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. Like, bad in a good way, I guess. But Swift was nice. He wasn't bad. I mean, it's just that he can't sometimes make those open catches where he's wide open. I'm not saying he would have done something crazy with it, even if he caught the ball. It was a little floaty. But Caleb made some good second half adjustments. Ben made some good second half adjustments. Dennis Allen did some decent adjustments. Defense is just hurt, bro, and people got to still understand that, man. This defense gave up 470 to a hurt arm throwing old ass, dirty, brittle, boned ass, wrinkly, pruny, skinned ass Joe Flacco, bro. So be realistic with the team, man. Take this season with a grain of salt. Third head coach, fourth offensive coordinator. Let the kid get this whole season under an offensive system finally to where he can finally develop. Y'all tell me what QB is going to develop under 3 head coaches already in the second season and 4 coordinators, bro. Give it a rest, bro. Next season will be much more critical because next season is more critical because now he's got his second year under the same system under Ben Johnson. I'm going to be way more critical about Caleb then. But as of now, I'm taking this with a grain of salt. There's going to be mistakes to be had because it's the first year brand new coaching staff. Motherfuckers talking about Super Bowl because we beat Philly. That's y'all goofy ass fault. Not saying you, Haize, or any of them, but you know the fans. Fans be hella brain dead when we be winning sometimes. They be brain dead regardless. Trying to tell us, oh, trade commit, trade DJ.
It was a game of 2 halves. Absolutely. We had a much better half scheme and everything in the second half of the game. But execution hurt the Bears, both from offense and defense, and we just need to tighten it up and get better in those areas if we're going to be a team that is trying to say that we want to make the playoffs. If you want to make the playoffs, the execution has to be better. From Caleb, from everyone, the execution has to be better. Now, for what it's worth, the Bears didn't have a lot of penalties, and I love seeing that. 4 penalties for 17 yards. You know, that's not terrible, right? But I think overall, like, the tale of 2 halves of the Bears went through. It was there. Ben Johnson needs to trust his run game more. It's clear when it comes down to that. You don't have to set up your run game. Let your run game set up everything else. We need to be a running first team. And I think that Ben Johnson needs to really wake up to that. The sooner that he does that, the more consistent I think the Bears are going to be in their performance on the offensive side of the ball, both in the pass game and in the rush game. You got two running backs that are ready, prepared, and I think their chemistry together is already shown to be really good. Trust them. Now let's see where we're going to get to there. All right, let's get to the last voicemail that we have, the second one for today. This one's from the 773.
What's going on, CDC? Hey, C-Dub, Bobby, Stevo, Big Kev, ID from Cloud Chaser Radio calling in. So we lost to the Packers. Not cool, but I'll live. What I'm happy to see is we competed in that second half and then just get blown out and actually outplayed the Packers. So there is something to build on. Now, Ben Johnson, I don't know what you're looking at on tape, but this offense thrives when you get the run game going and have Caleb in play action from under center. Now, why does it seem like every week it takes you a whole half to see that? I don't know, but please just run it straight at the defense. No trickery. Speaking of defense, Kyler, how the hell you get hurt in warm-up? Like, come on, dog. We just paid this man, and he's missed 10 out of 13 games. Like, what the hell is that? Now, those busted coverages he had on the back end were terrible. We should get cleaned up by DA. But this front four is awful. Jordan Love had all day to throw. He had no pressure in his face outside of Montez's sack and the INT throw. All in all, this team has shown it can bounce back and compete, so I'm glad to see that. I trust this coaching staff will get the boys right. On that throw at the end of the game, though, Caleb throw it faster. Cole was open. Damn! I already know if he throw that thing early, we win the game because I know Ben Johnson was going to go for two. And the way our offense was rolling, we was going to get that too. So it's cool. I got a little excited at the end, but it's all right. It's all right. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are and bear the fuck down. We getting y'all back, FGB. You know what it is.
I don't disagree. One of the keys I had for this game last night was make Jordan Love uncomfortable for the full game. And the Bears really didn't do that. Caleb Williams was more uncomfortable than Jordan Love for a big part of that game. We got to get to that point. We have to do that in the second game against the Packers. We have to make Jordan Love uncomfortable for the entirety of the game. If we can do that, we can find a way in a path to winning against this team. And we'll see, right? This game is a perfect chance to learn from it and watch how you guys are going to grow from this game because, like I said, I didn't want the Bears, and call me crazy. Some Bears fans will. I didn't want this team going into the playoffs on like some crazy 9-game winning streak. I wanted them to have a letdown so they can really look at and see, and especially against another playoff caliber team, and see, hey, this is where we failed to measure up at. Now let's get to the drawing board. Let's get out there and attack it. We've tasted it, right? Let's get there and let's do it. Let's make it better. Let's go out here and win some football games. So let's hope that the Bears do learn from this. I'm sure that Ben Johnson's going to have them ready, locked in, ready to go, and we'll see how we come out the other side of this. But thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you guys know I appreciate it. This loss does hurt because not only in the way that we lost, but also because of who we lost to. But the Browns are up next, and this is where great teams find a way to respond after a big loss. So we'll see, right? Big shout out to everyone who called in on the episode. We appreciate you guys' support and everything. All of you guys make this platform here that we are building special. That you guys make that happen. So make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, and that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like we like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.